let's see, the first thing that comes up is some pop-up, so I gotta get rid of that. And here we are. Hey, thank you for joining me. It is something I'm doing, something I'm trying for the first time. My name is Dan Gosling. I am known as Dan the Chop Saver Man, and I'm doing something new. I'm going live on YouTube. Not that I have never gone live before. I've gone live on the other platforms, but we've had a bit of a resurgence or some new virality on YouTube, Shorts particularly. There's a couple videos that have done pretty well, and there's one that's still climbing, as they say, on the charts, on the virality charts. It involves myself and my mother in a church setting. If you happen to be here popping in from that, great. If you're just popping in because who's this random chop saver guy, check him out. But what I wanted to do was just say hello, let you know who I am, why I'm here, a little bit about Chop Saver, and really talk about why we keep reapplying lip balms and what can be done about it. Chop Saver started as, I'm a professional trumpet player. So it was a random conversation that started all this. So I'll give you the quick backstory and then kind of back to my topic specifically about what it is about all these lip balms on the market that just don't last. They seem to cause more drying than actually moisturizing. And why would that be? And what's different about Chop Saver? So hi, oh, people are joining, cool. Yes, so your poems are so cool, I appreciate that. I'm just getting used to the YouTube format. So on some of the other formats, there's a place where you can say hi when people come in, but I'm not sure I'm seeing that. But anyway, thanks for joining. Again, we're going to be talking about not just what makes Chop Saver different, but this thing that we do with lip balms in general. We just kind of put up with the fact that we put it on, and 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, you put it on again, you feel like you have to put it on again. I mean, what is up with that? And for non-musicians, that seems to be the number one thing that people love about Chop Saver. So take your typical lip balm. Many of them are petroleum based. Many of them have things like camphor, menthol, which actually, and dermatologists, this isn't just my opinion, dermatologists will agree with me on this. A lot of those ingredients just dry your lips, or they just cover your lips. The petroleum is not a moisturizer. Petroleum just covers your lips. And we have to remember, like your lip balm is the only one that works. I love hearing that, appreciate that so much. So the flavors are just one flavor. Both items have the same flavor. It's a blend of citrus oils, which was really important to me when I put this stuff together, that I find something that was gender neutral, that would appeal to a lot of people. So if you're looking at other lip balms, and not all of them, but many of them, Chapstick, Carmex, Blistex certainly, all petroleum based. And that petroleum just kind of covers your lips. And then many of them, as I said, have camphor, menthol, which kind of give it that tingle or that sensation that you think it's working. It's really not working, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many dermatologists. That's actually irritating your lips. Because we have to remember, the lips, the skin on our lips is very thin. That's why our lips are red, because the blood that's flowing through our system can actually be sort of seen through that thin layer of skin here. That's why our lips have a different color, because the skin here is much thinner. So if that skin membrane is much thinner, we should be putting things on it to really protect it and help our lips when we need it. Why did you start this brand? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with all this. So I think I will answer that in the course of my conversation, and to make the difference between Chop Saver and the other brands. Because here's the thing, as a professional trumpet player, which I was for many, many, many years, and when I developed this, I was playing professionally. If there had been a really good lip balm on the market that worked, I wouldn't have gone to all this trouble. I wouldn't have gone to all the trouble to make something on my own that eventually became the Chop Saver brand. So again, this cycle of you put on chapstick, you put on a lip balm, and after a while, I need to put on some more. I need to put on some more, to the point where some people call it a lip balm addiction. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist here. I'm not going to accuse other brands of doing this intentionally. It's just these formulas. Chapstick was invented well over 100 years ago. Carmex has been around 60, 70 years, I think. And petroleum, which came out of, petroleum jelly, a byproduct of, drilling for oil in the ground. They found this gooey substance that could be used for things, and it seemed to protect the hands a little bit. And maybe this gentleman decided to put it in a stick and have people put on their lips. And at the time, that was probably the best option. Can you show some? So here's what I'm talking about. That is Chop Saver. This is the 100% natural, and then we have the other one with SPF 15. And not quick enough. I'm not sure what that means. I'll show it again. Is it too fast or too slow? I'm not sure what that comment means. I appreciate you being part of the show here, and maybe I can get some clarity on that and answer your question. So again, if there had been a product that really worked for me, I would have just been using it, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. And we talked about the fact that our lips don't have any oil glands. They don't have any sweat glands. It's just thin skin over this membrane. And that's why our lips get cold, they get dry, they get chapped. And there's, again, lots of choices on the market, but I didn't find any of those actually working very well for me. So the Chop Saver story starts with a conversation, a random conversation that I had with a student. I taught professionally. I taught trumpet at the college level for many years. And one of my students was very active in marching band and drum corps. And years after he was involved in that activity, he was just visiting me at the house one day, and we got in this random conversation about this lip injury that happened to him while he was in a marching band situation. He was at a rehearsal, and he's got his trumpet up, he's playing. Somebody ran into him while he was playing. He had this horrible bruise on his lips. And I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I used arnica." And I said, "What's arnica?" And he said, "Well, it's this natural anti-inflammatory. It's used for bruising and swelling. You can find it in a pill form, in a topical form." And he said, "I put that on. Within a couple of days, I was as good as new." So that conversation literally changed the course of my life. It blew my mind that there was this natural ingredient out there that A, I'd never heard of, and B, was so effective. Why hadn't I heard about it? Because when you play a brass instrument, I don't care if you're a beginner, professional, doesn't matter. There's times when your lips swell up, they get not necessarily bruised, but they will swell, and it makes it hard to play. It brings on fatigue. And so I decided I'm going to take this arnica stuff, learn more about it, and put it in a lip balm. And wouldn't that be cool as something to market directly to musicians? So that's essentially what I did. So it was trial and error. It was a crazy time in my life. My wife thought this was actually a midlife crisis. I took over the kitchen, and for the next basically 2 months, I started working on formulas. As far as where you get it, you can buy it at chopsaver.com, Amazon, and a lot of music stores. Stores that sell or rent band instruments will often carry Chop Saver. So that would answer the question about where do I find it. But thank you for the question. So now I've got some arnica. Another friend told me about shea butter, another thing I never really heard of, but I did some research, and that's really cool stuff. That's a natural moisturizer from a plant. I started working with aloe. I had vitamin E, avocado oil. These are all, time you woke up today. What time did I wake up? I usually wake up around 7. Not that that's relevant to our conversation, but just so you know. Love the energy, but why now? What do you mean, why now? I mean, why at 8 p.m.? I don't know. Just seemed like a good time to do it. Now everyone's in a different time zone, and people on the West Coast, they're at 5 p.m. If you're in a different part of the world, who knows what time it is. And this will be archived, and people can watch it at any time. So I'm working with arnica. I'm finding other herbs that have a healing aspect to them, other moisturizers like shea butter, avocado oil, the things I mentioned. And I'm just combining these things until I came up with what I thought was pretty cool. And then I shared it with some friends, and they agreed that this was something different, that I'd come up with something. Hello, it's me, Catherine. Thanks for joining. And for all of you joining and leaving comments, I appreciate it. If I miss any of them, I'll go back at the end and try to answer them. So my goal was, this had to be really moisturizing, it had to feel really good on the lips. It had, after a long day of playing, it had to make a difference. And what I actually didn't quite realize, but over time I realized, as people started telling me their reaction to the product, especially non-musicians, is how long it lasts, how long it just stays on your lips, and you don't have to keep reapplying, grabbing your chapstick, digging your purse every 15 minutes to put more on. That is I would say the number one thing that non-musicians, musicians obviously love it because it's very healing. It was made specifically for them. The idea that, oh, I'm going to make something that's super long lasting, that didn't really occur to me. It just was a nice byproduct of the ingredients that I put together. They do stay on your lips for a long time without feeling, waxy or gooey or, just odd. What chops should feel like is just, shouldn't really feel like anything. Your lips should just feel normal and healthy again. So that is how it all happened. That was what I set out to do. And when my friends and other people who tried it said, this is amazing stuff, and this was before I even had it on the market, that is what encouraged me to keep going and come up with a brand name and come up with a website and find a manufacturer and do all the things to actually get this, on the market. So I didn't, I wanted to create something much better. And I actually made something even better than I thought, if that makes any sense to you. Because after a few years of it being on the market, we had dermatologists become fans of it. And more recently, like I said, we have had people who are not musicians become big fans of it. Because of the healing and the soothing, but again, because you don't have to keep reapplying it. Again, I would say that's the number one thing non-musicians really love about it. It stops that cycle of putting it on and feeling like you have to put it on again. I've had, when I give it to people for the first time, like at an event or a party or a gathering, and I'll give it to them, I'll put that on, let me, come by in half an hour later, and they're always like, it's still there. I still feel it. But I don't feel it. It just, I don't feel like I have to put any more on. What an amazing thing. I'm a trumpet player. That's me on the banner. Yeah, don't worry, we all been there. What instrument do you? Yeah, I'm a trumpet player. So again, that's where this all kind of started. What else? I'm curious, anybody out here, anybody who's watching, what brands have you tried? What, do you have a favorite that doesn't happen to be Chop's favorite? Or are you looking for a new brand? Is there any chance that's different from others that makes yours better? Well, some of the ones I just mentioned. Again, where it all started was this conversation I had with my student. and he was treating a lip injury from a marching band accident, and he used arnica, Arnica. Arnica is a natural, it comes from the sunflower plant, the sunflower family, and it is a natural anti-inflammatory, which means it reduces bruising and swelling. It is a healing agent. That is what started all of this, was the discussion about arnica. And when I found out about arnica, which I'd never heard of until this random conversation with my student, that is what made me decide to try to invent a different lip balm. So there was arnica, that's how it started. Well, so we've been around this whole business there, but something deeper and better. Well said. Yeah, I've been actually doing this for a long time. If you're just now discovering me, welcome. Glad to have you aboard. Glad to have you part of the party. We have been a niche brand for musicians for many years. I literally launched this in the winter of like 2005. So it's been almost, it's been a little over 20 years now. And we were very small for many years. We actually were in CVS for a couple of years. That's a whole nother topic I don't want to get into now. That did not end very well, but we kept on going through Amazon and our own website, and we're growing now at a very rapid rate. And again, some of our videos have achieved some virality lately, which is why some of you may be here, and so welcome if that's the reason you're here. But we're really growing at a much faster rate right now. Again, because we've been discovered by non-musicians, which is awesome, which was kind of always the goal, but weren't sure how to go about doing that. But that's starting to happen now. What else? Any other questions? For music, biggest gap is young getting into it. Biggest gap is young getting into it. I'm not quite sure what that comment means, but I thank you for participating in the discussion. If you can clarify that, or I can help interpret that, fine. That would be great. Again, I'd ask anyone out there has used the brand chapstick, or any Carmex users, or any Blistex users out there, or any Burt's Bees fans out there. If so, let me know. We can discuss why you like them, or why you don't like them, or why you're intrigued by this brand. That's interesting to me, to know what other people have used before they stumbled upon Chop Saver. For me, I used Carmex for a long time. That was the time when it was the only thing really available. And after that, I used just straight Vaseline, like the demographic are key for new ventures. Sure, that's very true. Our first demographic, our first market was band kids, marching bands. We'd go to band festivals, band conventions, and things like that, and just hand out free samples. And then when the doctors started discovering this product, dermatologists, that put it in a different market, a more of a medical market, which was very cool. And now we seem to be appealing to women, sometimes women of a certain age, people who have used every product already, and they know that all the other products have this problem of constantly reapplying, or not really doing the job, or just making their lips feel worse. And so when they stumble on this Chop Saver guy, they go, oh, I'll give this one more shot. I'll try one more. And 9 times out of 10, people are amazed. They're thrilled to have discovered this brand. And we are thrilled that more people are discovering the brand. But yeah, I used to use Carmex. I kind of liked that tingle, and then I realized, gee, this is actually kind of tearing my lips down just more than anything. Then I'll just use one ingredient. I'll just use Vaseline. And I was hoping that Vaseline would somehow help my lips and heal them after a long day of playing, and make them not feel quite so bruised after a long day of playing. And that's just not what Vaseline does. Vaseline is just a petroleum byproduct that does a good job of covering skin, which is why doctors tell you to put it on a cut or a wound or things like that, because it'll protect the wound, it'll cover the wound. There's nothing in Vaseline that's inherently healing. It might help your lips heal on their own, but I needed something that worked faster, something that, you know, was truly more healing. Let's see. Sounds like you need to fill a void or gap. Well, yeah, I think we do fill a void or gap. And that's how a product becomes successful. Because if everything was already taken care of, again, if there was a product out there that actually worked for me, I'd be using it. And I wouldn't have gone down this road of creating something on my own to fill the gap that I sensed was out there. Like something that really is moisturizing, really heals, makes my lips feel better after a long day of trumpet playing. That was what I was doing. And that's what I think I did. And then again, this just because of the ingredients that I selected, the shea butter and the mango butter, the vitamin E, the aloe, the herbs. And yes, there are some waxes in it, but they to make it smooth when you put it on and stay on. All that kind of magical combination created something that stays on your lips, so you don't have to keep reapplying. And that's why we charge a little bit more. That's why we don't charge $1.50 like a tube of chapstick. Sleeping bear that wakes up. Yeah, I hope so. I think we're waking up a sleeping bear. I like that idea. The bear being people who are finally waking up to the idea that, oh, I don't have to put up with this. All these lip care products that make me keep putting it on. Yeah, it's good for them. You buy more frequently. So yeah, a tube of chapstick is around $5, and we have some bulk discounts on the website. So if you just buy a single, this is like, I think pretty sure it's like $4.95, and then the SPF slightly more. I think it's currently listed at $5.25. And if you buy a 3-pack, you get a little discount. If you buy a 6-pack, you get even more discount plus free shipping. We even have people that buy 12 packs because what they realize is, oh, I want to have one everywhere. I want to have one in the car. I want to have one on my nightstand. I want to have one in my purse. Or I want everyone in my family to have their own. So they buy a 6 and they're set for a while. Or they buy 12 and they use them as gifts. It's awesome. So I think that answers that question. Yeah, this has been awesome. Again, I was trying to, I'm just going to scroll back through here. Poems are so cool. It works. Flavors, I think I covered everything. Yeah, and I really appreciate the interaction because, again, this was a new thing for me, a bit of an experiment to go live on YouTube. I'm sure I'll do it again at some point. But I just wanted to do this first one and, again, just say hello, explain who I am, why I made it, and Margaret Research Music with available resources. There's all kinds of resources today now. It's amazing what you can find out. And most of my marketing is through Facebook and Instagram, and you can tell who responds to it and who doesn't. So yeah. If there are any other questions, I appreciate the comments. And any other questions before I probably bring this little live to a close? Again, this was an experiment to do a YouTube live, which I've never done before, but it's because we've had a lot more activity on YouTube, which is great. I was, posting on the other platforms quite regularly, and then I thought, well, I should put stuff on shorts and just see what happens. And after about a year of doing that, we had some videos to do really well, and they're fun, and appreciate you watching them, appreciate you being here. There's going to be more of that kind of content coming out soon. People seem to really like it, so we're going to keep doing it. But yeah, get some chops there. I would appreciate the support. If you like it, great. If you don't, at least you tried it. Most people really like it, and again, it's because it's super healing, super moisturizing, and it stays on. You don't have to keep reapplying. That is how I'm going to end my little discourse, my little TED Talk here by just reminding you that if you're tired of reapplying lip balms all the time, try some Chop Saver. You'll be amazed at the difference. So with that, and I will say Godspeed to you. Dualtrons. And anyone else who joined, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that comment too, because never give up is, I'm dealing with, large competition here. Chapstick is it's one of those brands that people know just by the noun, like Kleenex or Coke or Band-Aid. Chapstick is one of those. People call these chapsticks, but this is not chapstick. This is Chop Saver. This is a lip balm. Chapstick is a brand. This is my brand. So thank you for joining me tonight. We will do this again for sure sometime soon, and on other channels as well. Thanks for being here. And with that, I'm going to say so long for now. It's Dan, Chop Saver Man, and I appreciate that. I hope you yes, we're working on that. And it's things like this that help us do that. So tell all your friends. No. I'm not sure what no means. But on that funny little note, we will end this and we will talk to you soon. So it's Dan the Chop Saver Man saying so long for now. Have a great weekend wherever you are, whenever you happen to watch this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.